Sometimes things in life just do not go your way. Maybe you didn't get that promotion at work. Perhaps somebody has cut you up on the motorway. Perhaps Taco Bell thought it was a good idea to stop serving the naked taco. And suddenly, you are seeing reds. Now, you could punch a wall. You could punch a Taco Bell employee. But the healthier thing to do is to pick a playlist, crank it all the way up, and scream it out. So, once again, using the ancient art of the top 10 lists, this is 10 songs to help you ride out the rage. As always, we're going to start with a couple of honourable mentions, songs that, whilst great, maybe don't quite fit this exact list, this arc I'm going for perfectly. So, number one, probably a very obvious pick, would be Bullet with Butterfly Wings by the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, I think unless you've been born under a rock for the last 30 years, you know this song, you've at least heard this song. Even if you don't realise it, if someone was to play that chorus to you right now, you would recognise it. It's like the quintessential kind of angsty, emo, grungy song, right? That chorus of despite my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage, being belted out by Billy Corgan with his like slightly nasal, very, very angsty voice. It's like the archetype, right? Which is why I decided not to put it on this list, because I'm kind of hoping that people will find songs maybe they don't know. So as much as that would be a complete and easy slam dunk, I decided to leave that one off. Secondly, we have got Hell Broke Loose by Tom Waits. Now, this one is a very interesting song. I don't think a lot of people listen to modern day Tom Waits, but he is a law unto himself. His voice is like nothing else you'll hear. It's true what they say, that it sounds like his voice has been matured in a barrel of deep ale for 10 years, you know, soaked in bourbon.
Glanced at her shins, she said, nope.
This song is, well, actually, I'm feeling like maybe I should include this on like a song about war, because this song is about war, which is why I decided not to do it. It's very angsty, it's very kind of like rage-induced, but the sort of rage is more placed in a kind of historical context, right? It's about sort of powers that be sending these people off to die in various wars and contexts, and the sort of trauma it has on people, the horrible shit they have to go through during these wars. So, honestly, you probably can't find a better war song. The way that the like instrumentation and the percussion is sort of like spread out and mixed up with like gunfire stuff.
I miss my porch, left, right, left.
There's sort of like there's a very, very chunky, heavy guitar riff, but it only comes in very sparsely and in odd rhythms. It's really great. It's so disjointed. It's quite hard to predict. And again, his vocal delivery is great. The lyrics are awesome, but it just doesn't quite fit the narrative arc of this particular list. So we're going to leave that one off too. But genuinely, if you haven't heard that, I really recommend going and checking it out. Number 10. Rage by President. The name is obviously a little bit on the nose, but goddamn does it achieve what it sets out to do. So President is the sort of more angsty side project of a certain masked person who I will not specifically name, but we all know who it is. And it can really, really be shown in this song specifically. And I feel like it fits at the beginning of this list because the way that the arc of this song goes is it starts quite contained. It's almost like internally you are feeling this thing that is getting at your head, right? You know that there is something that's starting to push at you and you're having kind of a bit of an internal struggle. In fact, the music video for this song is this basically just one long dance with a woman in black and a woman in white, and it's like the two sort of internal halves of your sort of like soul fighting it out, right? And to be fair, in the music video, I believe the dark one wins, so the anger wins. So it starts off very kind of like minimalist. It's quite hip-hop inspired. There's a lot of vocal effects on the vocals, which I know with President is something that's a little bit divisive, but it's something I've come around to quite like. It kind of adds this sort of like fragility to it. Like the opening verses, just listen to the vocals for a second. Like, it feels like someone's been hurt, you know? It's got this kind of touchiness to it, and the song slowly builds up, because you know the President are, like, going to make it into a heavy song. Like, they've got really heavy guitars coming in most of their songs. You know it's coming, this anticipation. It pulls you in, it lets you kind of, like, enable this feeling, and it kind of, like, almost feels like it's going to drop for a second, and then it comes back down, and you get, like, another verse that's a little bit more kind of intense, and then just at that moment where you're just fit to burst, that's when the song goes. And oh my god, the explosion of angst and rage and feelings in it are unlike most other things, and I feel like because of the build-up that is leading to it, it really, really pays it off in like a big emotional, justifiable bit. Is up the octave and he is really shouting it, and it just really feels like you want to be there with it. And then you have this like just little breakdown section for a second, you just catch your breath, and then bash. Maybe the greatest scream I have ever heard in a song. That scream, it doesn't last all that long, but the passion, the hurt, the feeling that comes through on that scream, genuinely, I'm talking about it and I'm getting shivers. It is so well executed. It is such a purge of feeling, and again, the way that it kind of builds itself up and down again, so you have this massive, massive climax moment, and then it kind of edges off again, and it tapers off, and you get that sample effect from the beginning, and it kind of just leaves you in the wind, and, you know, you almost feel like, shit, what do I even do with this now? But, you know, I think it kind of leads on to, like, you know, so the next stage of trying to get through these feelings. But yeah, honestly, Rage by President, if you want to get that first, like, let's feel these feelings out of the way, my God, what a place to start. Number 9! St. Nazir by the Pixies. Now, this is an interesting one. The Pixies are one of my favorite bands ever, and they have a very eclectic sound. I mean, they all sound very definitely Pixies-ish, right? Like Black Francis does in fact sound like Black Francis, but some of their songs kind of tip into this weird, over-the-top, screamy angst that honestly, I don't think most people would expect from the Pixies. I think most people would think, "Where is my mind?" when they come up. St. Nazir is Off Beneath the Eyrie, which is a very, very underrated album. Sort of second era Pixies when they came back, you know, minus Kim Deal. I think doesn't get given enough credit, honestly. And this album in particular is great. It's this very kind of like interesting, kind of folklore-based, kind of like more occult feeling album. But for some reason, this one song, St. Nazir, it's mostly down to the vocal delivery from Black Francis. That's why it's on this list, to be honest. The lyrics themselves are shrouded in many, many layers of allegory and sort of like all these sort of narrative stories and various other influences that makes it actually somewhat difficult to follow as a sort of specific narration. But the way he is singing, it feels like he is this close to having like a brain hemorrhage from the amount of like power he's being put out through it. Like every single line is like just about pushed out through like gritted teeth. It's like he's gonna cry and scream and spit all at the same time. It's so interesting. Just the sort of like sheer, like almost like disgust with the world that kind of comes through is tangible. It's like black sludge being poured through your ears. And honestly, if you're not feeling it, if you are angsty, if you're in a bad mood, especially if you're in somewhere where you can turn up the music really, really loud, oh my God, just trying to match his energy, like, sometimes I can find that in itself will, like, put me back where I should be, because I'm like, God, what is wrong with this guy? Like, I don't know what it is about the way that he delivers this song, but I love it. There are a couple of lines, especially where it kind of drops out for a second, and you'll see what I mean. I'll play it right now. It sounds like he's about to pass out. And it's kind of interesting. There's a few Pixies songs that do this across various albums. Like I almost picked Blue-Eyed Hexter for another one that's like very shouty. But I feel like this one has this like barely controlled rage aspect to it that makes it perfect for this, because we've come up with the song Rage, right? We're up there now. We've allowed ourselves to feel these emotions. Now St. Nazir is like encouraging it. It's sitting there going, spit. Scream till your blood gets rushed into your temples, your face goes red, just let it out. And that is quite a valuable thing sometimes. Number 8! Never Fight a Man with a Perm by Idols. I debated a few Idol songs because Joel Talbot has got this amazing, like kind of thuggish, dangerous way of delivering stuff, and Idols, again, they play with so much swagger. But I feel like at this point in the list, we are absolutely allowing ourselves to feel this anger, this like almost like look out world, here I am, and that's why Never Fight a Man with a Perm works so nicely. It just has this constant dum, dum, this pace throughout the whole thing, and the vocals are quite conversational, which to be fair is actually a somewhat Idlesy trait, full stop, but the lyrics are amazing. They've got this like slight twinkle in the eye feel to them. They're not quite tongue-in-cheek, like it's more serious than that, but the kind of character he's creating here, the person he's describing, has definitely got this kind of like dangerous look to him, and he's got this kind of like, you know, Bristol kind of like North London accent that makes him really feel like, oh god, bloody hell, you don't want to get in the way of this. And its delivery is just so like on the nose, perfect. Like the way he's describing this character, I mean, maybe it's because I've worked in a pub for a long time, so I can like picture the archetype he's going for here, but like, you know, he's Brill Cream, he's creatine, he's a bag of Charlie Sheen. Like that is lyrical genius right there. And then suddenly it bursts out into this big chorus, and it's very gang vocally. It kind of lets me feel like I can embody this mythical, scary man with two big arms like baseball bats, and no one wants to mess with me. I might be the man with Brill Cream, you know, I've got a perm, whatever it is, but right now I am in a mood. That mood is do not fuck with me, and that is something that, to be fair, it's not just this song. Idles do a really, really good job of doing that, but this song, I think, it's the perfect mixture of kind of swagger and angst. That just in this point in your kind of like cycle of anger, it's good to feel kind of a bit powerful, and that's a kind of fantasy I think this song really helps to enable. Number 7. Crowbar by Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. So we're taking that sort of like slightly Jack the Lad, little bit kind of Londonite vibe, this sort of like angsty thing, and we're gonna direct it into slightly more kind of introspection. We'll come from an explosion in the sky. One day there was nothing and the next there was light. The song Crowbar, it's really to me about sort of understanding how annoyed you are, and that maybe you're not the one that's at fault. Considering how kind of like angry the vocals on this song kind of sound, even just the attitude in general. Again, it kind of has this more kind of relenting, kind of moving forward feeling, and then you get into the chorus and it's a bit more, you know, open up, you get hit by this big wall of sound. Go and get the fucking crowbar. It's a trap, and there's no comfort fitting in a fake safety that no one believes in. But lyrically, it's actually way more about sort of self-loving than you would expect. It's about taking this aggression that maybe the world is putting towards you, realizing that you yourself are valid in the way that you feel like, and using this crowbar to like, I don't know, to fight your corner, to smash up the world instead. It's kind of like taking this angst and sort of like internalizing it, giving yourself a break and using it as a way to kind of lash out every now and then. And that's fine. Obviously, I'm not encouraging anyone to actually go and start smashing shit up with a crowbar, but kind of in a mental way, I think that sometimes it can really, really help the situation. It's like a smash room, but for your mind, you know? And Frank Carter's vocals are surprisingly kind of pure, I guess. Maybe that's unfair on him, but it doesn't really strike me as a band that should have kind of clean vocals, but it does, and it works really nicely. Like they're much easier to sing along to. The melody is actually quite interesting. It's kind of like rising, falling thing over in the chorus, and it's just him. There's like no harmonies at all. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's good old fashioned. Let's just fucking go, you know? It's the kind of song that in a mosh pit must be excellent live. Number 6. Gin and Milk by the Dirty Pretty Things. So this, I think, is possibly a slightly forgotten chapter in like British musical history. The Dirty Pretty Things is the band that Carl Barrett formed not long after the Libertines split up, because Doherty was just off his nut and impossible to work with, right? And so you've got Carl Barrett, who is very, very musically talented. I really like, well, almost everything that man has touched, but he's got this angst from the Libertines, you know, sort of like almost being this amazing thing, and they were so culturally relevant for a bit, but it's just like his partner was just such a wreckhead that they couldn't hold it together, so he had to make that hard decision. So he formed the Dirty Pretty Things, and this album is like pure golden, like kind of messy, kind of garage rock, sort of British kind of post-Britpop. I don't even really know how to define it. It's got one very famous song on it. I feel like you probably mostly will know Bang Bang You're Dead from the chorus at least. And that song is great, but Gin and Milk is this song that it just like has this like very kind of wordy, but like kind of throwaway like feeling of like nobody understands me. It's great. Like the lyrics in the chorus are so spot on.
No one gives a fuck about the values I would die for. Like the faces still serve us. You reader as you crack for. No one gives two fucks about the values I would kill for. Give them something to die for.
Having these ideals, these morals, and just no one gives a shit. And it comes across beautifully. Everything is so like kind of messy and chaotic. The guitars are like janky and hard. And Carl Barrett's voice has got this like passive annoyance to it. Honestly, I think people sleep on this album quite a lot. The whole thing's great. There's a really fun musical device as well, where the lyrics for the chorus are very wordy. It's no one gives a fuck about the values I would die for. It's got this very kind of like pushing, like I'm pissed off with the world vibe. And then you get to that last chorus and you get like an extra half of one, and it adds this like extra whole layer to it. It's so good.
No one's too concerned about the things I would cry for. I've been trying all my life until there's nothing left to try for.
Almost feels like, again, like he should be passing out from lack of breath at this point, and he's like really smashing on that guitar at the same time. It's just like this really, like, I really feel like I can get into the head of Carl Barrett and his thought process and writing at that time, and I'm thinking a lot of it is him going, God damn it, Pete. And that kind of, that's quite tangible, but it's kind of like extrapolated out into a slightly wider, more like pseudo-political, like kind of societal commentary as well, which it really resonates with me, and I think that people should just go out and check that entire album. Number 5, The Regulator by Clutch. Now, this one's a little bit different to the other ones in this list in the fact that it's got a way more slow, clever acoustic build-up. This is actually one of my favorite songs ever. It's just this wonderful, slow, southern twang, acoustic leading into these really thick guitar tones. I mean, one of the things I love about Clutch is that their lead guitar, and rhythm, the guitar tones in general, they're so, like, gritty. They're gritty without being, like, fuzzy and over distorted. Like, they just have a really good handling of their timbre. Neil Fallon's voice is designed for screaming and shouting. He has got a voice that matches his beard. It's very gutsy and from the heart, but again, it starts slowly. It's him recounting this tale, right? I mean, I don't think they've ever specifically talked about what the song is about, but for me, lyrically, picking up on some of those things, it's almost like this walk to the gallows, right? It's this executioner's march. You have let the rage get to you at some point. You've done something stupid. It's kind of a little bit more reflective, a little bit more introspective. It's quite interesting. It's kind of like self-punishing, but the way that it slowly builds up, and it takes a while, it takes a couple of minutes at least before you get that first chorus, but the second it comes in,
Dream with the feathers of angels stuck beneath your head. The regulator, swinging pendulum.
Neil Fallon's voice just hits that note with so much power. That first chorus is awesome, and the way that the guitars kind of open out and everything kind of falls in, and just the timbres, it's so rich, there's so much going on because of the way that it kind of ebbs and flows, and you have this like kind of wide twangy acoustic. It almost feels like a cowboy song in places, right? And because of the sort of like contrast between the choruses and the knot and the verses, it's like just so cathartic again to just scream out with that chorus like nothing else. Honestly, the lyrics are like poetry. They're kind of like innocuous enough that you can kind of use it as a way to sort of shape it onto yourself, right? You can take that and relate it to how, whatever you want, whatever context you like. Clutch are awesome. Neil Fallon is a very underrated singer. I've seen them live as well, and his voice holds up. It's awesome. Just do yourself a favor and listen to that song. Number 4. Shape of My Heart by Noah and the Whale. Now, I bet none of you are expecting a Noah and the Whale song to appear on this list now, were ya? But actually, whilst a complete contrast to the way that it handles these feelings and emotions compared to most of the other songs on this list, my God, it might be maybe the most angsty, pissed off, like, I don't even know, like, just accepting of your, like, issues and like the hatred songs I've ever heard. At the time, lead singer Charlie Fink was dating Laura Marling, who was also a founding member, and what's really interesting to me, at least, is that they broke up pretty shortly after the first album cycle, and it's so interesting that this album itself, the first one, where she is on it doing backing vocals, there are a lot of songs about heartbreak and sort of like lack of interest in sort of wanting to feel emotions anymore.
Oh, when I look to the shape of my heart, it's separated only by scars that cut in and cut out.
The way that he's able to kind of like put these feelings together in what is essentially quite a soft indie song. It's very acoustic-y, it's quite of its time, it's very noughties, and you know, on its face, if you weren't listening to the lyrics, you might not realise what it's about. But man, he is so butthurt.
Oh, and if there's any love in me, don't let it show. Oh, and if there's any love in me, don't let it grow.
That is somebody who has been hurt and doesn't want to do it anymore. That is somebody who is so traumatized by the feelings of love, so like messed up by them, that he just doesn't want any part of it anymore. And it's packaged in this weird, soft, there's a string section in this one. The backing vocals, again, are done by a girl who was going to become his ex-girlfriend quite soon. It's a very interesting chapter in musical history, this whole thing. It's a very underrated song. It's actually just a great album, full stop. I've not really paid a huge amount of attention to Noah and the Whale since, but I happened to get into them as this song was coming out, as this album was coming out. And as a kind of young kid, it took me a second to figure out just how like angsty and rage-filled this song really is, because it's so packaged differently. But I think that's kind of one of its strengths. And once you know those words and you kind of know that feeling and we internalize it, when it comes on, I find it really, really helps. It like almost makes me feel like I want to shut down these emotions, which is, well, you know, sometimes it's a healthy way of dealing with it, sometimes it's not, but either way, it's definitely interesting. Number 3, Rusted from the Rain by Billy Talent. Another one that approaches the feelings of angst and rage slightly more in a subdued manner, which is interesting because Billy Talent have got a lot of really, really like aggressive, angry songs. Red Flag is amazing, Viking Death March is amazing. They're very shouty, right? What I like about Rusted from the Rain is it's like almost we're coming out of the other side of it now, right? We have allowed ourselves to kind of build up this angst, we've let it fly out, and now we're starting to come back and internalize it a little bit. We're starting to realize that maybe it's, you know, it's not healthy to feel this way, right?
Among the broken mirrors, I don't look the same. I'm rusted from the rain. I'm rusted from the...
It's like this weariness, right? Like you're stumbling through the wreckage. It's the opening line, you know. Then just the imagery, the lyrics itself, Rusted from the Rain. Just to me, it pictures this, you know, this bit of metal that's just been sat there and it's just been worn down, and now it's got these like rough edges and it's not shiny anymore, right? And sometimes once you've kind of gone through this big emotional kind of sad, angry sort of cycle, you just come out the other side of it weary. And I think this song encapsulates it so perfectly. It's this like self-flagellating, sort of interesting, kind of like heavy-ish, but slower, right? There's some nice harmonies in there. There's some big, chunky guitar tones, which are very common for Billy Talent. It speaks to me on like an emotional level. It just feels weary. And sometimes I find that maturity to be very appealing. Like it's nicer to me than just screaming into a wall. Don't get me wrong, there is absolutely a place for Red Flag. I could have included that instead. But for the sort of arc we're going on, it just feels like Rusted for the Rain with that kind of like, it's sort of like a looping, like a lilting guitar line, dung 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 dung. It kind of goes up and then down and then down and then down and then up and then down. It's just kind of like you're being dragged through this rainstorm, and you're just tired of it. There's still a little bit of fight in there. There's still this like, screw it, just hit me, I don't care anymore feel, right? It's still got that sort of like angst. It's just sort of like starting to wear down on you now, and I think, you know, as part of an arc, that's quite an important step. Number 2, Let It Die by the Foo Fighters. We've had up, we've had across, we've had down, and now we get to the final couple, and this is where we have like our payoff. Let It Die is, I mean, actually low-key, I think probably my favorite Foo Fighters song. The build up to it is amazing. The payoff for it is unlike any other Foo Fighters song. Like, it takes quite a long time to build up that song. I love it. It's got this kind of like, again, quite secular, like the lyrics, like they repeat themselves, but like it is kind of like very clever. Like there's a rim shot on a drum that leads for quite a long time. It's like a as Dave Grohl just like slowly builds up his voice, and then it has one of the greatest dropout moments I can think of in a song. Just as everything's starting to build up and you get that chorus and the guitars are building up, and then buff for a second, and then da 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 da, and that lead guitar line comes flying in again, and my god, the payoff for it, it's so crazy.
Why'd you have to go and let it die?
And I'm not a big like screamo guy. I do happen to quite like it when Dave Grohl does it, because he does it with taste and it's not the whole song. When it does end up with some screaming in it, it feels very, very earned. And Let It Die is possibly the best example of that you will find. So by the time you get to that last chorus, it's just ending on full, everything is going, you've got like 3 guitar lines all ripping out at the same time, the drums are going absolutely crazy, and Dave Grohl is just screaming from the bottom of his soul. That feeling of like letting it go and pushing it away and standing up for yourself is just, it's just what you need to come out of the other side of this, right? It's how you end up loving yourself again. It's just this let it die. Why'd you have to? This massive, massive outpouring, and I don't know. It does something special to me, that song. It just encapsulates that set of feelings. I mean, I guess I'm figuring out about myself. I really like songs that do build up well. That's clearly evident with this list, right? And I think that this song is a very, very, possibly the best example of it I can conjure. Number 1. Cut the Cord by Shinedown. Shinedown have got a lot of really good music. Some of it I find can edge on the cringy side of things. Some of the lyrics are a little bit too kind of schoolyard, I guess. I mean, they've literally got a song called Bully. They're a little bit much, but Cut the Cord, again, it feels to me that lyrically it's about that chord, right, is your like emotional investment, and it gets to a point where it is just not worth it anymore. You've got this opening refrain, freedom, la 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 la, sung with a child choir, I think, which often it can be very, very effective. That freedom mantra the whole way through, it definitely has this kind of like revolutionary feel to it. Brent Smith's voice, when he gets to those big, big choruses, is awesome. I wish I could shout like that, dude. It's just like, it really does feel like this massive fuck you to everyone that's caused you issues, and this big like, screw it, we're cutting away again. That guitar lick, it's not particularly complicated, but it's so like chaotic and open. It's bong, ba ba dum bong, ba dum. It follows most of the song like that. It's like basically the same chord, but it's just so like bombastic in its approach, and the drums are very open the whole way around, and then just like the way it tightens up for that chorus, you suddenly have this gonna make it rain. The whole thing's quite staccato, talky, shouty. So when you finally get this sort of like beginning of that chorus, mixed in with the fact that the guitars do the same thing, they go from being very staccato in the verses to having this like dong da dee doo 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 doo. It's got this very kind of like interesting moving upwards kind of arc. It's very liberating. It really has this like empowerment feeling to it. It just like, you just want to say, screw you. I've had it up to here. I've been through all the various stages, and at the end of it, you're kind of not, I was going to say angry, but that doesn't quite, like, fulfill what I'm trying to say. It's, like, free, like, aggressively free, maybe, is what I'm trying to say here, and I think that is actually a really nice way to end it. You don't end up self-hating, you don't really end it feeling, like, kind of suppressed or anything like that. You are at breaking point, and screw you guys. Me and Brent, we are out of here. It's just... yeah, I don't know, I was absolutely addicted to that song when it first came out. It's just got this, like, unbridled angsty passion to it that is difficult to find in other places. So I think it's a pretty good place to end. That was my list. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think about it in the comments, and also what your angsty songs are. I want to know what song gets you from being angry and internalized to feeling more free, to feeling more justified, right? Everyone has got to have totally unique set of things that fit for them emotionally, so I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Other than that, if you like the video, please consider subscribing. It helps grow the channel, allows me to make more videos like this. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all of that crazy stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.